Listen, every producer wants to figure out how to make their first $10,000 as a music producer. And unfortunately, there's a ridiculous amount of BS out there. There's a lot of misinformation. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of people out there who make it way more complicated than it needs to be. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the 3 main fundamentals that you need in order to make $10,000 as a music producer. Now, the first thing you need in order to achieve this is the proper business model. Right? As simple as it sounds, in order to make money off your music, you need to have a strategy that allows you to make money off your music. Let me explain what I mean. You need to take advantage of a big opportunity that isn't too risky, but can ensure that you get to that $10,000 mark. Now, I will say that $10,000, and I'm really not trying to be insensitive here, but I understand that I myself was an outlier. I hit my first $10,000 when I was 15 and touched my first $100,000 off my beats when I was just 16. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on in this video and how I actually got to that place. But my point is, I'm speaking from experience when I tell you that you need a vehicle, a way that you can make that sort of money, but a way in which you're not going to risk all the money that you do have or risk your valuable time. Now, here are some of the best vehicles that you can utilize to make your first $10,000 as a music producer. The first one is by offering mixing and mastering services, which is when an artist asks you to mix and master their song in exchange for, say, $100. In my experience, this is not a bad place to start. The only problem is that you're trading your time for money. But the plus side is that there's very little risk, and if you have the skill set, you can get started with this right away. However, you'll need to first have clients in order to do this. But no worries, later on in this video, I'm going to show you how to actually find artists that are interested in this service. Actually, I lied. I'm going to show you how to build leverage, making it where artists are coming to you, not the other way around. So if that sounds good, stick around. But moving on, another way could be offering custom beats on platforms like Fiverr. And this is definitely a viable option. Honestly, I don't see a lot of people doing that. But then again, this doesn't really allow you to have much or if any freedom control. And to be honest, you're not really building anything. Now that's just my view on it personally, but if you believe that that's best suited for you, then hey, give it a shot. Another way is the placement method. Now this is a pretty good route for a lot of producers. I mean, shit, you get to be in the studio with your favorite artists. You get to be collaborating with a bunch of producers. And you know, this is all good stuff, don't get me wrong. But one thing I constantly hear from my producer friends, which mind you, they're multi-platinum, they tell me time and time again that I wish the income was more consistent. I wish I didn't have to depend on record labels deciding if they want to pay me or not. I wish I didn't have to just work my ass off just to end up having the song not even release. Now, there is a lot of money in the placement side of the industry, don't get me wrong. But then again, I will say that if you don't have an enormous amount of connections, then my friend, you will just be wasting your time. Now look, I'm not against placements. I myself recently just got a placement with Lil TJ, and that song has at least 15 million streams. But the only reason I got that placement in the first place was because of the method that I'm about to tell you. So rather than trying to trade your time for money and do what the majority of other music producers are doing, instead you should be focused on building an asset that will pay you month after month, whether you wake up feeling like making music or not. You should be focused on building something that compounds and allows you to sell your music direct to consumer without having to put money into Zuckerberg's pocket every day. Which is why, and this is from years of experience, building a Type Beat channel is by far the best way to make your first 10,000, 50,000, hell even 100,000 plus. It's what allowed me to make over $250,000 before I even graduated high school. And it's also what allowed me to get that Lil TJ placement, because believe it or not, he found that beat directly from my YouTube. Now I'm not going in depth on how to actually grow a Type Beat channel in this video, but that's why I have an entire YouTube video breaking this down for you step by step, and I'll leave that in the description for you to watch right after you finish this video. Now let's talk about the second fundamental to making your first $10,000 as a music producer. So what you need to understand is that all successful producers have one thing in common. They built leverage. You see, when you build your brand, you position yourself as an authority. You allow opportunities to come your way without having to struggle every day trying to make ends meet. Building leverage is what allowed an artist like Lil TJ to come to me and ask if he can pay me for my music. You see, by focusing on building your brand, you create the ability to not only get opportunities, but to take advantage of any opportunity that comes your way. And that's why at the start of this video, I mentioned that building leverage is the key to success. And that applies for any method you try to market your music. Because say you do want to offer mixing and mastering services. If you built up your brand, you can put out one Instagram story and have customers pouring in. If you want to get placements, building your brand allows major record label artists to come to you. And if you ever do need to reach out to artists, you've already positioned yourself as an authority in the industry, allowing business to be done seamlessly. So please focus on building leverage, because if you don't, you will just be stuck running in circles for the rest of your music career. Now, moving on to the third fundamental, this one is to stretch out the timeline. Look, I know you see these young producers like myself who happen to make a lot of money off their music, and we make it seem so easy. But what you need to understand is that in my first year of trying to build my producer brand, I only made $1,000. And that was with me trying my hardest to learn. And sure, I only made $1,000 that year primarily due to the lack of advice that was out there at the time. Which is why you should be glad you found my channel, because my friend, you now have a competitive advantage. But my point is, if you see guys out there who are younger than you and are making 15K a month off their music, and you're only making say a few $100 a month, dude, do you realize how awesome that is? You're making a few $100s a month off your music on the internet. Not only that, you're making money off what you love. So just for a second, stop comparing yourself and pat yourself on the back. You deserve it. You shouldn't constantly compare yourself, and if you do, it should be in a positive way. Like, instead of saying to yourself, oh, Diego made 250 grand off his music while he was in high school, oh, I'll never be like that, I'm never gonna be good enough, and this and that. Dude, do you know how damaging that is to your mental? Instead, you should be looking at guys who are making money off their music and get inspired by it. So if it's going to take a few months, hell, even a few years to start making a full-time living off your music, it's okay. Because look, I'm not going to tell you that the music industry is just some fairy tale place and it's all sunshine and rainbows. No, it's not. And you probably already know this. And I'll be the first person to say that. Now, don't get me wrong, it's definitely great though, because you can make a full-time living off what you love. But if you seriously think that this is just some get-rich-quick scheme, then dude, get the fuck out of the music industry. But anyway, my point is that it's okay if you're not there yet. It's okay to still be learning the ropes. Because let's face it, we all have to do that. Give yourself some time to get started. And with that being said, keep on grinding. I'm wishing you the best.